the universe on the brink. The Toa Nuva must face their greatest challenge yet. The battle for power has begun.
Treason! Worse than treason! Stupidity! Succeeding to grand design and you risk the death of the universe itself!
A risk I am willing to take.
Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new Toa Talk. Today we are featuring the Project Matanui Rising team. Before we get into the video, I'm going to ask you to hit that like button and comment what your favorite part was from Bionicle Ignition, The Battle for Power, Episode 1. In this episode, we're going to get into production details of Episode 1 and what the future is going to be like for Episode 2, 3, and onward. But without further ado, I hope you all enjoy. Hello everyone, and welcome back to a brand new Toa Talk. This is Toa Talk number 3. Today we have a familiar face back, along with a few new people as well. Starting with Levis, we'll go with you. You may introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Levis. I am the project leader and founder of Project Matanui Rising.
Hello, I'm Virtual. I'm the VFX supervisor on Project Matanui Rising.
Hi, I'm Kodiak. I'm one of the keyers and rotoscopers for the project.
At which point did each of you join Project Matanui Rising? I know Levis was there since the beginning, but what's the story with you guys?
Sure. I joined the project in 2023, when somebody close to me sent me the one of the first trailers, and they're like, they could use some 3D people. I was like, I can do some 3D stuff. And so I joined in 2023 and worked on one sequence and then two sequences, and it's just kind of grown ever since.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact time. I know it was definitely before COVID, probably before 2019. But I joined, and initially it was just to help out with keying and rotoscoping. Those are some things I knew how to do, and that's mainly what I've been doing. I've done some builds and stuff, but that's mainly what it's been.
Okay, no, that's fantastic. Have any of you worked on previous projects before joining Project Matanui Rising?
I have not worked on previous projects that before. I've never been a project leader before for something like this. So it's all very new to me. When this really started up in 2019, it was only with 16 or so people in 2019. It only started with 6 in 2018, and then when 2021 happened, all of a sudden I got 100 people attached to the project.
Just all of a sudden.
Amazing and crazy at the same time. Yeah, I was like, oh, we got to cast a bunch of people for the story, so it's better to cast ahead and know what we're doing ahead of time and start scripting. And then boom, 100 people, and I was like, oh, that's a lot.
Wow, that was a big boom. What about Virtual?
Sorry.
Oh yeah, sorry.
What was the question again? Sorry.
I was just asking if you had any previous projects or works prior to joining.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I when I was like a kid, I did a little bit of stop motion Lego stuff, but that's like a 10-year-old's work.
Yeah.
Since then, I've been mostly doing 3D stuff, but no like community projects like this. So this is also kind of a new experience for me, being like a VFX supervisor, because previously I've only been like an artist in certain like VFX productions. But yeah, so this is it's mostly new to me, but I've been really enjoying working with the creative Bionicle community that we've kind of developed here. Very talented group.
Mm-hmm. And how about you, Kodiak?
I would say for me, I haven't really worked on anything along these lines. I mean, I did some with virtual, like I tried a little bit of stop motion as a kid. They were, I think, as sloppy as you'd expect. And then I didn't get back into it until like a couple of years ago, but I still need to get back into it. But I haven't done anything like this community project wise. I mean, there have been like some collabs with like other builders for mocs, but that's very seldom.
Hmm. So you've all have been a part of the project for quite a while. How has it evolved over the years?
We have a total new workflow from what we originally had. We were really at the beginning just trying to stitch scenes, kind of, to be honest, sloppily together. But thanks to Virtual and David, things are going so much better for the pipeline for the project. I know Virtual can talk a lot more about it.
Yeah, we kind of learned all the big trials and tribulations, the lessons learned on the project over the past handful of years, and so we've kind of built a brand new pipeline for bringing stop motion into 3D essentially. So it used to be where each stop motion artist would be given a certain sequence or a certain scene to kind of film on with their characters in their own studio, and kind of let them come up with the camera angles for each sequence, and then each of those artists with each of those scenes sends it to the editors and the keyers and rotoscopers, and then from there it gets either put into a video editor like After Effects, or in my case a 3D program like Blender. And it sometimes proved a bit of a challenge because each of the stop motion animators were doing kind of their own self-contained segment, which works great as like a little scene. But sometimes when you try to stitch maybe 4 or 5 of them together, you run into either continuity errors or just like screen direction type stuff. So now we have both like we've changed it, so we have a top-down design of like having an animatic or a previs or even just storyboards, so that we can kind of like sequence by sequence have a unified vision of the episode, as well as a whole bunch of technical improvements that allow us to kind of speed up production by parallelizing tasks, and then hopefully we can have a faster release schedule.
Wow, yeah, no, that was a lot. I wasn't expecting that. That's
Sorry.
no, that's perfect.
Huge.
That's why we're
really
here.
Pipeline.
No, it's good. No, I think that's really great for potential future fan projects to hear that and to learn from processes like that, or even people to apply to their own non-fan projects. The planning is by far the most important part of any production. I've learned that over the years with my stuff, and obviously like you guys like learning like how to juggle like 140 plus people. That's pretty remarkable, especially going over the internet. I think I've heard some stories of Levis having to track some people down like after a while. Like it's just man, working online with 140 people is just wild. But we mentioned earlier how the project started and then quickly there were 100 people. Now there's over 140 people, possibly even more now. How, like, was there a gradual, sorry, I'm trying to find the word. How fast did that happen? Was that quick, or was it kind of like a slow process? Like once you reach that 100 people, did people come in more slowly, or were there more people jumping in as the project went on, because obviously everyone wants to be a part of the biggest Bionicle community project that's ever happened.
So when 2021 happened, I needed to cast a whole bunch of characters for basically the whole entire 2008 story for voice acting. When doing so, there was a ton of characters. We probably had 30 to about like 30 people that were on the team during that time. And then a huge casting call happened in 2021. Then the floodgates opened up, and I had to close them off a little bit too. That's when we hit like 100 people, and I was like, okay, that's too many people for me to manage right now. We're gonna calm it down. I really don't need this many people. I really am looking now for keyers, rotoscopers, and stop motion animators. That's mostly what we've been looking for, even to this day, is more keyers, stop motion animators, and storyboard artists. Uh, it's slowed down a bit, but that's, I hate to say on purpose. It's because we just don't need as voice actors. That's the easiest way to put new people on the team. But the hardest thing to put on the team is actually like what we're looking for is like more qualified 3D artists, artists in general. People can help with promotion. But yeah, that's like the stuff that we've been since 2021 been mostly putting on new people for. Yes, the occasional voice actor does come and go. But yeah, that's what it's been. It's been now like we put on probably 5 people on the team probably every few months, but right now we're putting out since episode 1's release, we've put on 3 or 4 people in just one day that are very qualified.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's only gonna happen more and more as you guys get deeper into episode 2, which we'll get into a bit later. But
Absolutely.
how has the process been combining CGI with stop motion and selling that cohesion between the two mediums? Because I know that can be very, very difficult to sell or to like have the two match up visually. Because there were a lot of people that didn't realize that you combined the two mediums for a lot of the scenes. So I think that's another aspect that this episode did very, very well that I think maybe we could get into just a little bit on.
Sure, yeah. Traditionally, at least before I joined the project, there we've been using a lot of like it's typical video editing platforms like After Effects to essentially just bring the footage in flat and then maybe do a little bit of 3D camera movement. But I come from a more 3D background, and so I'm like, what if we just use 3D programs like Blender and just import the footage as like little planes in the space, and so that allows us to have more dynamic camera moves, have a more detailed environment, and this is kind of a new development that I'm really excited for. Is using a technique called footage relighting. So it uses a machine learning model to kind of break down the light properties of footage. So if for example you have like this kind of harsh light on your actors or your characters in the footage, we can now remove that and then change it so we can light the characters our own way. So you'll see it in the village attack sequence and the underground like Matoran sheltering sequence, is that the footage at least somewhat reflects like environmental lighting. And so that's like kind of the new big thing that I'm trying to kind of perfect or at least hone in, because previously you'd shoot your stop motion in your studio with your lights, and then once the lights were shining on the character, that's how it was for the rest of the sequence. So having a lot more control in how we direct the light and the kind of composition in the scene, I think makes for some really cool new dynamic uses of stop motion.
Oh, that's a fantastic answer. And speaking of stop motion, there's a lot of animators attached to this project, and many different animators had many different ways of going about stop motion, including their style. Some people like to use a lot of frames. Some people like to hold it back on the frames and use the frames strategically in certain moments. How has that been balancing different artists with different styles?
It's sometimes difficult. You want to make sure that your own style gets into it, but the animator has to follow the certain guidelines that we give them. There's certain things I've asked animators. I'm like, okay, there's this scene with Photok. You can do whatever you want with him. Just do something cool. And that's how Lee's. He filmed the Photok scene with him running across those rocks when the rocks were falling down in the final scene. And then there's like heavily guideline scenes, like with Vampra chasing Radiac that Topeng had to film. When she filmed that, that was needed to look exactly a certain way. So certain scenes and certain moments you get more freedom. It really depends on what the animator is able to and wants to film.
Mm. So which scene was the most difficult to pull off?
I would say Village Attack. Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. Definitely Village
I
Attack.
agree as well.
Mm.
It's a 6-minute scene, and it's the best scene, I think, too.
That's so funny. I think I remember when I was looking at the script originally, it was estimated to be like 3 or 4 minutes of a sequence, and I was putting it together, and I was like, man, this is turned out pretty long. And we cut not a significant amount, but a certain amount of footage out from that sequence. So that sequence could have ended up at like easily 7 or plus minutes. So it was a monumental, like gargantuan thing to put together with all of the footage and the environments. And kind of just editing in general with the great music too. Like it's just been it took a long time. I think it was definitely worth it though.
Absolutely, it came out so well. I'm so proud of that scene. It's amazing.
So what would you say is all of your favorite scene? I'm assuming Village Attack is up there.
I think so.
Kodiak.
Yeah. Let's hear from Kodiak.
Yeah.
Let's hear from Kodiak.
Yeah.
Definitely
We'll
Village
go with
Attack.
Kodiak.
Yeah, I'd probably say Village Attack. When I was like a C, I probably was imagining like if you're talking about a certain clip or part of it, which is tough to say. I would say the Shadow Hand and the good guy getting picked up by Vampra. Those are up there for me. There's also the one shot where it has like it pans as the Makuda land. I don't remember keying that one aside from some of the little goobers that Borak 321 built. But I say Village Attack is up there for me. Because I got to key a lot of those, especially the shots that Borak 321 did for those.
Yeah, for myself, it would definitely be Village Attack, the Shadow Hand, anything with the Shadow Hand moments with Makuda Chirax. I remember when I asked Virtual, are we able to do this? Is it possible? I cherish and love every moment with the Makuda Shadow Hand. It's amazing. Another moment that's not Village Tech is the Toanuva's arrival.
Oh yeah.
I love that scene so much. Essinger did such a good job with the soundtrack. It made me very emotional, and I've seen in the YouTube comments people are very emotional seeing the Toanuva come in, and that was kind of the goal since the beginning. That's where I knew I wanted episode 1 to end, was with a moment of huge hope with the Toanuva coming in. I love that moment so much, and I'm happy that the viewers really like that moment too.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I've seen that scene adjust over time as you all have been slowly chipping away at it, polishing it up. I really love the little how there's a little hint of like a silhouette, and then you see them like in full light. I thought that was a really great adjustment that was thrown in there towards the final steps of the process. I think that really sold it, and it's definitely my favorite scene of the film. I mean, obviously Village Attack is so grand and is so phenomenal, but like you said, like it just it evokes something in you, especially when you're a longtime Bionicle fan, and like, with how things have been going on in the Bionicle space for a while. Like I think a lot of people needed to see that moment, especially as like the final part of the episode, because that's kind of like what the episode kind of. I think this episode represents a lot of things for people. I think the way that you ended it with the Toe Nuva represents how people just feel about this episode in its entirety. At least from what I've seen online, and obviously my personal thoughts on this episode as well as seeing it being worked on over the years. I joined the project back in 2023 as well, I believe, and yeah, it's just been amazing seeing how everything has evolved and has just kept growing, and everyone pushing through everything to make this. Obviously, like, other communities have like fan projects and things like that, but I've never seen one so organized such as this one. It's just not even just with Bionicle, like this. If you look at all the different mediums that are combined into here, all the different craftsmanship, all the different experiences that are brought in here, this is probably one of the most ambitious projects I've just ever seen. Again, coming from people that are working on this independently as well. So you all should pat yourselves on, give yourselves a pat on the back for sure.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm really excited for episode 2. Excited and scared for episode 2. But yeah, I'm really, really happy how the reception for episode 1 has gone.
No, for sure. And I mean, I know the reasoning, but with episode 1, I think a lot of people weren't expecting to see the entire, like, village attack, because I believe in the book you were mentioning that a lot of stuff was mentioned or not directly shown. So what warranted showing that?
Yes.
Obviously, with animation being a visual medium, I think it was absolutely necessary to show all that, and you guys delivered for sure. But what was there more thought put into that?
Yes, in the books, Tama sees the Makuda attacking the village in the distance after Gavla transforms into a Shadow Matoran, and she chases him down, and he sees and stops mid-fight and watches the Makuda start attacking a village. And I was like, okay, that feels weird. Like, he just sees it in the distance and there's nothing else going on. Huh. What if we just show it before and then have Gavla transform later? And that's kind of like the reasoning. I was like, oh, the episode will be too short, I think. We need to show how scary the Makuda are, to just like the Matoran, and the threat that they actually pose, because there's story reasons of how powerful that these guys are. I just was like, okay, it's important to show this massive village attack with hundreds of Matoran in different villages. So we kind of like planned off that early on and kind of worked our way towards that. This was one of the last things that we worked on scripting.
Okay, we're gonna move on to some fan questions. So this was asked by one of my live stream viewers. His name is Katakuna. Will characters that do not have canonical designs feature their Duckbricks Fanon model winner design?
Most likely, yes.
Most likely, yes.
Like Lariska, most likely will be under that design. But yeah, like probably many of the designs will be featured in Battle for Power. The ones that were featured in the TTV contest, like the Toahaga, Helrix, Artaka, those will be featured in the Battle for Power series.
And
the Toahaga.
Oh yeah, you guys can go ahead. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is asked by the same person, I believe, but just in case, I wrote this person down under a different name as well, their YouTube name. So this might be a different person, but I'm pretty sure it's the same person. Asked by Alexander, Has the Project Manually Rising team given the Makuda of Stealth a name?
Kodiak is the one that's developing actually the Makuda of Stealth. You can answer that.
Yeah, I would say that I tend to steer away from names. I remember there was one name that I liked. It was from Bob the Doctor 27. Shout out to him, and I think it was Vidak. That's like what I remember.
Okay.
But it's more so. I mean, I typically imagine just more just the Makuda is stealth. So yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll go with that for now. And I mean, obviously the name will be revealed with time, but I mean, you're all very carefully developing that character because that's a character that we know pretty much nothing about. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with that department, especially that there's not too much reference about that character. So we shall see. Another viewer question. I don't have their name on here, so I apologize about that. How has the story / writing evolved over the years? Were there any creative liberties to enhance the story? Are there any major changes to the 2008 storyline? So it's kind of a long one.
You've already seen some of the biggest major change, which is the Makuda attacking the village. That wasn't in the 2008 story. Technically it was, but it was a sentence of Tama watching it. So we had to show it. There's, I consider that a major change. There's a change that we had to change in scripting for episode 2 with the Toa Nuva. With the way that they were talking to each other, they didn't emote that well. With hearing some news, I'm gonna keep it a little bit vague, but I was like, that doesn't seem right. Like they would be saying something when they hear about this. But there's like when it comes to like major changes, the main death of Toa 2 yet is technically not in the 2008 story. So we had to come up with a narrative device for us to show the main death of Toa 2 yet. That is a major thing that we are going to be showing. I'm really excited for that one day. That's going to be really fun. That's going to be an unexpected episode because people are going to be like, where is this heading towards? But it's part of the greater story as a whole for that.
Yeah, I think we saw a little bit of that in one of the previous trailers. At least the first trailer that I saw when I discovered that the production was happening. But yeah, and we're going to move on to frequently asked questions. So these are those questions that the team has been asked quite a bit since episode 1 came out and just even before that. Is the team looking for more members? I think we've already kind of covered that, but I think it's important to really drive home the process of getting more people on the team.
Yes, we are always looking for more members on the team. We're looking for more stop motion animators, CGI artists, visual effects artists, storyboard artists, a lot of artists. We are not looking for any voice actors at this time. If you are interested, you can email me at lovice2012@gmail.com, or fill out the Google form that's in the description of our YouTube videos. The Google form is the best way to reach out to us because then it just doesn't go to me; it goes to multiple team members. But yeah, we're always looking for more people to join our nearly 150 person team now. But yeah, I'm really excited. We're already getting some new recruits with the episode premiering yesterday. Put on 4 new people.
Another frequently asked question. This is probably the most frequently asked one since episode 1 has come out. Just a quick side note, I've never seen so many people show up for a Bionicle premiere of like any like film or anything like that. Like this had 300 plus 350 plus viewers at one point, and I was watching it at work. I was on my breaks. I was like, just to see like what the reactions were, and there were a lot of people watching that premiere when it was going live. But when is episode 2 coming out?
I joke when I say when it's done, but that is the truth. In a way, it will not be a long wait. It will not be 6 years. I'll say that. We have a much faster production pipeline. The episodes will be shorter. They're not going to be 30 minutes like what they were. It will come out as soon as we can. We don't want to rush it. We want to make sure that this quality is maintained as well. I know originally, when we started this project, it was going to be 12 episodes. It's going to be a lot more because we have to split it up a lot more to make sure the production stays the same, because we were going to have episodes that were going to be an hour long at one point, and we're not going to be doing that. We're going to make sure that they be around 10 to 15 minutes long. But once we get a general idea, we will be doing a lot more production notes on the upcoming features, on the upcoming future, on the Discord. We'll be giving updates for people for how we are in production for episode 2 and more.
No, that's fantastic. And for the rest of the pod, we're gonna take a little bit of a step back. We're gonna stop answering these tough questions and start having fun a little bit. So, when and how did each of you get into Bionicle?
I got into Bionicle in 2002. I got the wonderful and typical Fire Borak. And that I got hooked ever since. And then
That'll do it.
It became too much of a crippling addiction.
Yeah, well, yeah, the obsession aspect is a common trait amongst all Bionicle fans, unfortunately. How about you, Virtual?
Yeah, I wouldn't say join the community, but I got my first Bionicle. I forget exactly what year, but it was the Toa Hordika is when I kind of joined.
Oh yeah,
in the Vizirac, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I never got into the lore. When I was a kid, I was just like, oh, these are really cool. And I went back home. I did not realize I had amassed so many when I was a kid. So I was like, respect to young Virtual, But yeah, I didn't really involve myself too much in the lore until actually just recently, like 2023, when I joined the project. Because I was like, I really did I liked Bionicles, I liked stop motion. Now I know how to do CG. And then joining the project, I'm like, I actually have to learn the lore for script reasons. And everybody in the production, it seems, has a pretty good library of the lore that I can ask and learn from. So.
Oh, that's cool. How about you, Kodiak?
I remember getting it was 3 of the Vaki. It was the red, blue, and black ones. So Nurak, Bordak, and Rorzak from an acquaintance. It was around 2006. I already knew about Bionicle, but I hadn't gotten into it. But I got to around 2006. My cousin gave me his sets, and I kind of just stuck around with it since. So.
How about each of your favorite years of Bionicle? I think with the project you guys are working on, I think we already know the answer, but just in case if it's different, I figured I'd ask.
I like 2007. I think it's one of my other favorite years. I really love 2007 and 2004. I love Metru Nui. It's my favorite island. Metru Nui is such an amazing and beautiful location. And I love 2007 because it inspired me to work with animals and marine biology. So that's one of the big things I love about the story of 2007.
That's indeed a fan favorite year. How about you, Virtual?
You know, I'm a sucker for my nostalgia, so I have to say, just because of the designs, 2005 with the Hordika. But I think, you know, second in line would be 2008, just because I've learned so much lore about it. I'm like, oh, there's a lot in this here. This is cool, cool characters.
It's really jam packed. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's definitely the most complicated year to learn lore and stuff for Bionicle. There's so much, and it was an exciting time to be like a kid when all that stuff was unraveling. I mean, like like even to this day, there's still stuff about 2008 I'm still learning about as a 24-year-old man, compared back to when I was a 7-year-old. That saying that out loud sounds, yeah, that's a lot of time. But
I'm old.
yeah, yeah, but yeah, no, it's 2008. It's just really cool, and of course, like the sets are. I mean, you got the vehicles. What more can you say? But
Yeah.
as for Kodiak, what about you?
Since I got into it in 2006, I'd say it's a close tie between 2007 and 2008 for me.
Mhm.
Maybe leaning a little close towards 2007 since that was the full year I was into. I experienced with Bionicle, but I also like 2008. Um, I also do have like a soft spot for 2000, even though I think there were a lot of missed opportunities. It's an underrated year.
Mhm.
But probably I would say 2007, 2008 for the years I experienced. Um, but I do like the earlier years for like 2001 to 2002. But like for what I experienced, like 2007 to 2008.
Nice. All right, pretty similar taste across the board here, aside from the 2005 guy over there. But yeah, no, that's cool. Um, Another question. We'll start with Levis as usual. What's your favorite set?
Oh, that's a hard one.
I
Oh
know
no.
you can always say a few. You can always say a few of them. I always give that wiggle room because I'm very like whenever people ask me questions like that, I always have to say like a few. You know, so you can always say like the first couple that pop up in your head.
I love New Paramari. That's one of
Mm-hmm.
them. I
Oh, he's
love New
cool.
Paramari as a set. I love Mari as a set. That's a big. Those big two. Um, those are my probably two favorite sets are Mari and Nuparu. They're just such great sets, and set designs, and the silhouette is beautiful. Those are probably my two favorite sets of all time.
Understandable. No, they're very distinct Toa designs, and they both work very well for both of their characters canonically as well. Like they're just really great representations of them. And for you, Virtual?
I think probably Nocturne. I love
Oh,
Nocturne
yeah.
so much. I love anything glow in the dark. And I mean the whole undersea series of them I think is super cool, but Nocturne takes the cake with his funky mask and four arms. Super cool.
Mm-hmm. No, that's awesome. Yeah, I got him not recently, but I guess in terms of like sets that I got, like he's one of the last few sets I did end up getting, and yeah, no, I was missing out. He's really, really cool. He's like, yeah, like I woke up one night and I looked across my room and he was glowing. I was like, like if I
A
woke up
little
from
menacing.
yeah, if I woke up from a nightmare, I'd be like wetting the bed right now. But like, yeah, yeah. How about for you, Kodiak?
Would you mind saying that again?
Oh yeah, sorry, your favorite set from Bionicle.
Oh, that's okay. That's really tough one.
Yeah, you can always say a couple. You can always say a couple.
Okay, that's tough. I do have a soft spot for the Rahi. I mean, kind of the Manas have a bit of a sub because remote controlled, but that's like early stuff. Um, I do kind of like. I mean, I like the Mata. I do have a soft spot for the Mari, due to how unique their designs were. Also, the Fantoka Makuda. Um, it's really hard to say. And then I guess for Metro build, probably the favorite Metro build is Toahaga Aruni. But yeah, it's tough to say. Probably like some of the wackier ones, like whether it's the Fantoka Makuda or the Rahi from '01 or the Toamata. So And then the Toa Mari, because they were the first wave of Toa experience outside of the Nika, so I'm kind of all over the place. So
No,
sorry for rambling.
No, that's a great answer because I mean, Bionicle across its entire lifespan is so different, but so unique and so I don't know, they're all so cool. You know, you can just say them all. They're all my favorite. I think that's a completely valid thing to say. As for story, with canon, especially with all of you working on a very Bionicle canon heavy project, what is your favorite Bionicle canon character? So just looking at them as a piece of fiction that was written.
I love Shankron. He is such a interesting character. He is not good nor evil.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is very fascinating that he was the temporary power supply of the Matoran universe, basically. And he was cast aside, and he understood why he was cast aside, but he wasn't like hateful and spiteful of it, even though he was fused to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I think that in the greater story, especially in 2010, of how he was able to save the Matoran universe, in that moment really shows that he was upset that he was cast aside and discarded as trash by the great beings, but he was still cared for his subjects for the Matoran universe. I think that's like really cool. Greg didn't write a lot of gray characters that much, and I love Shankron for being that kind of like gray character.
Mm-hmm. No, really great pick. How about you, Virtual?
You know, it's a little embarrassing, but I don't have the biggest library of characters and lore, but
No worries.
I do I have a few. I do like favorite design is Nocturn. I also like the story of Nocturn.
Yeah.
Just kind of like
He's a
kind of
funny
like
guy.
he's a brute, just kind of like suffering his kind of tragedies he's wrought upon himself. Right. Kind of an interesting, little bit of a sad story. So definitely like him, but I don't know. This is probably just recency bias. The Avmatoran in episode 1, I just like their kind of character arc. Kind of starting from just like being on this island, villagers on this island essentially. Somewhat accepting the call to battle, and then what their future holds in the next episodes.
I've really noticed over the years that people have really grown attached to the idea of like stories about Matoran, like in like non-canon related, like Bionicle, like fan works. Like people just really like Matoran, and the Avmatoran are definitely some of the most overlooked characters. Partially because like 2008 is such an intimidating year to learn about and to get into. So I think you're gonna have a lot more people be with you there as time goes on with this episode being out, and I believe it's almost at 12,000 views now, which it's only been like just 24 hours since the episode's release, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, no, how about
it's so funny when during the live or during the premiere, there's so many people being like, "Oh, where's Solek?" I was like, "Yeah."
yeah,
When I saw that, I was like, patience. I didn't say anything. I was just like, you will see him, and you will love him.
They all got a cool moment. Oh, super cool.
yeah, no, the narrative is about to be changed with Solek now. All those years of TTV Messinac jokes are gonna fade away. They're not gonna age quite well. But how about for you, Kodiak?
For favorite characters?
Yeah, favorite canon character or characters.
Okay, yeah, that's a tough one. I think part of it is I'd want to go back and read like a lot of stuff to catch up my memory. I do have a soft spot for a lot of the Glup Shidos from the story.
Understandable. Yeah.
Although I would admit they're probably, admittedly, my interpretations. They're like there's not much we know about them. Like Kojal, we don't know much about him aside from Mutran, his description of him, although Greg pointed out the obvious, which is that Mutran's a very unreliable narrator. And two things that stood out to me there were that Greg said that Makuda never say anything positive about each other, so Mutran calling Kojal arrogant, obnoxious, or whatever could easily translate to him resenting Kojal for being smarter than him. And if Kojal was so secretive because knowledge is power, knowledge shared not so much. And then some of the characters I've built, I also have a soft spot for, like the Forearm Giant and Botar's replacement. But admittedly, that's just my interpretation of them rather than like the canonical depictions of them. But for like actual like character that have been really fleshed out, I don't really know. It's hard to say.
No, that's
I
completely
guess
understandable.
yeah.
Oh no, sorry. If you want to keep going, that's all good. No, I just thought, yeah. So if you got any more to say, I want to hear it because this is the time.
Yeah. I would say also a bit of the Toa mangai, which they're also glup shidos, so you can see the pattern here. Although once again, I'd probably say that's my interpretation mixed with like canonical fact. Like one of the things is like how the Toa mangai, they had two Toa betrayed them.
Mm-hmm.
And the team seemed kind of distant. They would go on these like they didn't seem very united, and so I think it's kind of more the story and the tragedy of that, where two Toa betrayed them, like Tuya and Nidiki, and you can imagine all the trust issues that causes that, and also the team like not always being together at all times. Like some of them went off back home after the Kanohi Dragon incident. Also, Tuya being an unreliable narrator with the Nui Stone.
Mm-hmm.
And how like you could do a story where like if the team was actually united, they probably would have been able to stop Eliminator. Or you could implicate Tuyet and Nadiki in the Great Cataclysm due to their betrayals, sowing distrust. But that's mostly my interpretation of them, given the little we know about them. So I guess it's more so the story of them and a little bit with like Tuyet, I guess. But I'd probably say, yeah, I'd say for that, kind of like Kojal, the mangai, and then other Glupshidos like Botar's replacement and the Forearm Giant. But it's mostly just my interpretations of them.
Yeah, no, that's completely understandable. I think a part of the beauty with the Bionicle canon, I know like a lot of people, some people get kind of like peeved that like not everything is completely like filled out, but I've been saying this a lot lately because this is just like my thoughts on it, and you seem to align with me where it's up to the fan to kind of fill in the gaps, because I mean ultimately it works because it is a Lego product, you know, like it's like it invokes creativity. And yeah, no, like I completely agree with pretty much everything you said, like regarding the Toa mangai and like the Glup Shidos. Like a lot of it is based on your own interpretation, and throughout the Bionicle community we see many reinventions of characters that, you know, maybe you read like one or two sentences about in some book that Greg wrote, and then they just go crazy with the character. Like again, like this community and this brand evokes like the best parts of people, and especially in their creativity. But I think that's all of the questions that we do have. Thank you all for showing up today, and make sure that you go watch Bionicle Ignition, the Battle for Power episode 1. If you have not somehow watched it already, I don't know what you're doing here, especially at the end of the podcast. You're absolutely insane for not watching it before listening to the podcast. But is there any final thoughts any of you have that you want to share?
Keep an eye out for some behind the scenes Bionicle Day and some project updates post Bionicle Day, and we'll be debuting the soundtrack for the first episode too in the upcoming few weeks. So keep an eye on that.
All right, great, fantastic. Again, thank you, Levis, for coming back. It was great having you back. It was great having you on, Kodiak. It was great meeting you virtual. And
Likewise.
yeah, no, and we'll see you all in the next one.